Hello, welcome back. Before I forget, if you like watching these videos, you like enjoying both the cycling and the art out of the studio, please be sure to become a subscriber. That way you'll get an alert when I post the new works, particularly with the cycling season. There's not a set schedule for those. You can expect me to be posting um, at the start, well, when some of the big races happen. So after this race, the Tour Down Under, was sort of the kickoff race of the season. Not sort of, it is the kickoff race of the season. Then we get into the spring classics, although the first is still full in winter in Europe. But those kind of pop up and they're one-day races. So if you really want to know when I've painted the next one, you kind of need to be a subscriber to see those works and get an alert when I've done a painting. Also, of course, I'd love to hear your opinion of what I'm doing. So, a comment, questions as I do these videos. If you have questions about cycling and whatnot, or painting, watercolor techniques, the media I'm using, etc. Of course, I'll try to answer those questions in the ensuing videos. Now, today we're in stage 3, right? Stage 3? Stage 3 of the Tour Down Under, the 4th day of racing. And we're on a long downhill descent. And these two just had a crash, although it was more the second rider here, Corbin Strong, had come out the worse for wear, and he's in the enviable position. I mean, not so enviable that he just crashed, but he's being brought back to the peloton. The guy in front, his teammate, is Chris Froome, and anybody who follows cycling recognizes that name. Chris Froome, 4-time winner of the Tour de France, at least one time of the Vuelta de España and the Giro d'Italia, and he won all three of those Grand Tours: the Tour, the Vuelta, and the Giro in succession. So not in the same year, just because he won the Tour and then went on to the Vuelta, which is raced a little bit later in the year, and then came back the next season and raced the Giro d'Italia, which happens the month prior to the Giro d'Italia. So this young rider is being led back by one of the greats of cycling. They ride for Israel-PremierTech, a team that seems to pick up riders that nobody else wants, the veterans, or at least nobody else can afford, might be a better statement. Sorry, I can't write and think at the same time. Certainly not write and talk. So we've sort of done the composition, and one of the things I'm trying to get, well, these, like, that's a very stationary image, but once you put the guardrail and the sweeping lines in the road, it starts to animate the image. So that's one of the compositional things you need to do, and now I'll follow this up by having my brush stroke follow the same movement, which will add movement to the piece. I'll try to remember to make that comment when I'm actually painting the roadway and the guardrail surfaces and such. So you'll see that augments the sweeping nature of the image and will add not only visual movement to the piece, but give a sense of speed as well. Now, Chris Froome has this very unusual writing technique that seemingly nobody else in the Peloton uses. He kind of is always looking down at what I finally realized a couple of years of painting him. I've painted quite a few paintings of Chris Froome over the years. You know, when you're regularly leading the Tour de France, you get painted. But he flicks his elbows out and stares at what I now realize is the computer. But what I'd done early on, when he was just sort of gaining notoriety, there we go. I'd done a painting and somebody said, "Oh my God, you captured the stem look so well." And I was like, "The stem look? Is that some sort of euphemism?" He's a guy. Stem look? Think about it. And I think I even said something on social media, on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm The Art of Cycling on Twitter. I think I even said, like, is that a euphemism to the person who posted it? I'm like, no. He always stares at the stem of his handlebars. And of course, that's where his computer is. Not so much now, but in the days when Ineos Grenadiers was called the Sky, they really raced by the numbers, and a lot of people, a lot of cycling fans found that annoying, that they weren't racing on passion. It's not remotely the color I wanted. So that's something that happened. So if I wash out my brush and put a little water down, I can, if I catch it right away, see how I kind of erased it? That just wasn't the purple I was looking for. So I think we'll switch over. And now that it's wet, I can have a little trouble with bleeding color, because watercolors, as the name implies, are all about water. So if there's water still in the paper, it'll puddle out. So, got to catch the image again. So for those who don't know, so I'm watching the race as though it were live. This race is raced, of course, as the name would imply, Tour Down Under, is raced in Australia. And of course, much quite a different time zone than here in the East Coast of the United States. I think they are like 16 hours ahead. So I get a little confused about days. So, but the racing happens live at about 11 or 12 at night, my time. And since this is a 6 or 7 hour process from start to finish for me, that would have me up to about 5 or 6 in the morning. Plus, I work at night, so I wouldn't quite be off work yet either. So, anyway, so I paint them the next day. So, that also necessitates that I avoid social media until I've painted the next stage, because, of course, if I look at it in the morning while I'm working on these, I may find out what happened. And I'd like to paint them without that knowledge. I don't want to be painting, oh, well, that's going to happen, so I'll just wait till that move goes. I don't like knowing what's coming. So I'm regretting slightly that I didn't paint the women's race, although it wasn't going to be possible time-wise, consumption of time. That I just let it go, and while it was a great race, and part of me wants to go back and paint it, I know who won. Spoiler alert if you don't know. One of the riders I actually really enjoy, so I'm really ruining that I didn't paint it. Grace Brown, an Australian racer. And while I'm a fan of Grace, I've also had the distinct honor of her being a fan, might be too strong a word, but she certainly knows who I am and the work that I do, and she's actually bought, well, or maybe not, she didn't buy it, but she certainly commented and retweeted it, and then her parents bought a painting that I did of her or for themselves. I mean, come on, it's got to be exciting to have a painting of your kid doing the thing that they love. So normally I wouldn't have gone to the super dark just yet, but it helped me it just helps figure out things. So as you may have noticed, and I know I've said before, I sort of started with the paler colors and work my way, as a rule, work my way down the spectrum of both warm to cool and light to dark. And that allows me to, should I catch a mistake early on, allows me to fix it, because as you saw washing, I can wash out something that wasn't right. So you see now how these strokes here, and you notice I was following the curvature of the road or the guardrail. And now we're just going to build my road color. And I've noticed the roads tend to have earlier on they were very much dark black, maybe fresh tar. And Amir, as one of the commentators, keeps calling it vitamin, which I guess is the what the Aussies will call the paving of a road. And of course I call it paving or tar. And of course we refer to it as the pavement in England. That's actually the sidewalk. So it's interesting, while we're all speaking English, we have a lot of different words for the same thing. The vulgarities of the English language. I mean, it's not just English. Swiss French and the French spoken in France and the French spoken in the Bahamas. All radically different languages too. So just about done here. Enough time to remind you again. Could truly appreciate your feedback, thumbs up, and of course, the thumbs up and the more people comment on it, the more others will be able to find the work. So I would appreciate it from that point of view as well. And then, if you don't like what I'm doing, feel free to say so. Oops. Dark sock, white shoe. I did. White sock, dark shoe. So we're just going to have to pretend. So here's his dark sock. And I'm going to leave just a touch of white so that we can pretend that's the bottom of his foot. And we also, so now I need to clean my brush. I'm going to come back and get a little more of Corbin's arm here. See how the arm comes down? I want to highlight or shadow it actually to be more accurate. Okay, so there you are. Thank you so much. You can see all of this work on my website, gregleach.com. If you go to the blog, theartofcycling.blogspot.com, you'll be able to follow the links through to the specific painting where you can purchase it on the website. So thanks for taking the time to watch. It means a lot to me. Thank you.